Today on CityCast Denver, what happened to the Secret Garden Bar and Cafe on Cheeseman Park? The popular spot's staff recently unionized, and now there's no more restaurant. Then both DIA and the Colorado Springs Airport won't be playing the new Homeland Security video about the government shutdown, but for very different reasons. Producer Olivia Jewell-Love joins me to dig into these stories, plus listener comments about coffee and one Love is Blind cast member's allegedly bad driving. Today is Wednesday, October 15th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Good morning, Olivia.
Good morning, Bree.
Just really quick, I just want you to know I went to Trinidad recently. Have you been to Trinidad?
I have not.
Oh my God, it's a town. It is the town for you. Trinket stores, antique stores. My friend Olivia, other friend Olivia, has an amazing vintage store called Owl Den that you would love. You would also love Olivia. But I just was there over the weekend and I was thinking of you. I was like, man, you got to come here. It's adorable.
I do. I also love meeting fellow Olivias.
This is also a commercial for Visit Trinidad. You're welcome. I'm just kidding. No,
I want to now.
And honestly, I was there for the Fancy Spider Music Festival, which actually the town supported with a grant. They were so excited to make this happen. And there was tons of people in Trinidad. It was so cool. Anyway, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a story that we actually broke last week, right before the long weekend, just because, we were internet perusing and we came across this information about the Secret Garden Bar and Cafe, which is this beautiful little restaurant, coffee shop, bar-ish hangout spot right on Cheeseman Park. Olivia, what happened?
Well, so I guess what really happened was we saw a Reddit post
yes.
and on the Denver subreddit, and somebody said Secret Garden just shut its doors, and we were like,
huh?
That's weird because this happened on Friday. I was there Wednesday. It was so busy. I had to share a table with a stranger. It was literally popping. And so I was like, that's weird. So then go to their website. URL is gone.
Yes. Instagram,
it's been
gone.
Everything has been deleted about this place. So immediately, the bells start going off in my head and sus, something weird's going on. So we start, digging around some more. And so Friday, in the middle of their,
middle of
shift,
regular service, yes.
Middle of their day, the management of Secret Garden closed its doors permanently, to the surprise of the employees that worked there. And I have to imagine everybody that was actually there. And they just shut it down. So to back up, what had happened was back in June, the employees at Secret Garden had actually organized to unionize. And so they had voted 100% and they were like, cool, we're going to unionize.
Everyone on staff was on board, yeah.
Yes. And so to be clear, I chatted with Jimena Peterson, the organizing director for UFCW Local 7, on Friday to get all this information to learn what was going on. And then they've since released a press release with more information. So what happened was the employees had their first bargaining session supposed to be on October 8th. And then the ownership group management came on October 7th and said that they were closing the restaurant. The day before they were supposed to bargain.
The day before they were supposed to bargain, they said, hey, we're closing the restaurant. But not right then.
No. So the plan was they said they were going to close it on October 19th. And so the management said that they were operating at a significant loss. They've only been open for 13 months. And so that they said it was a financial decision. And from what I understand, the employees were not buying this. The employees on that Friday had come out to kind of spread awareness, and they were spreading a petition to have people sign to get this transparency from the company to actually figure out what's going on.
So some employees showed up at the restaurant while it was in operation with this petition, and we're talking to other employees and folks in the restaurant from what we can gather and saying hey, this is what's going on, and would you sign this petition to sort of, push back on this potential closure of this restaurant? Because it feels a little bit, the timeline is interesting, I guess we could say, with the unionization efforts.
And these were off-duty employees, according to Denver 7. They were just gathering signatures to support their efforts to unionize. And then that day, the management decided to shut the doors, shut it all down, middle of the shift. went dark online. So we reached out to them. We tried to call their ownership group. We tried to call a restaurant, which their line was cut off. The ownership group, you talked to them, Bree.
Yeah. So it's City Street Investors. It seems like a pretty large organization in terms of like I called and I got like a phone tree of like, if you're looking for this department, this department, this department. So I picked the closest one, which I think was hospitality. And then I just hit the first person. And the gentleman was just very like, I can't talk to you. I don't know. I'm not the person to talk to. And I said, okay, great. Is there someone I could talk to? And he was basically like, nope. And then hung up, which felt like he was hanging up on me. And then he called me back and said, sorry, I could take your name and number, which they did. And obviously they did not call us back. But we did try to reach out to management.
We did. And from what I can tell, there's not a lot of comments from them that anyone's been able to get. I saw that their director of marketing and branding gave a small statement to Denver 7. Basically what I said, like the restaurant, which operated at a significant loss since opening 13 months ago, was not financially sustainable. The decision to close is entirely unrelated to the recent employee unionization. An affiliated restaurant, Yum Cha, in Central Park closed 4 days earlier for the same reason. So that is what Denver 7 heard from them.
So, I mean, to be fair, just for, I guess, to try to see a little other side of this from the restaurant perspective is restaurants, the margins are slim. A lot of times you aren't operating at any significant gain for a couple years sometimes. It is just, I think it was interesting to us because you had just been there and we're raving about it, but we're also like, this place is the hottest spot in town right now.
Yeah. Well, I was literally there, 2 days before this happened. And the thing I noticed when I was there, which I see, employees talking about in some of these articles that people have since written, but there was a 19% service fee on every transaction when I was there.
Oh,
that's
significant, honestly.
But yeah, so definitely an interesting timing. I mean, like, even if what they say, what the management says is true, like the timing is sus.
I will say, as a person that was working at a restaurant that shut down in the middle of service, and when I was laid off once, it's an extremely jarring experience. I wasn't in a union situation, so I can't imagine how that felt. But I also will just say, from a customer perspective, it was very hard to be like, hello, you have ordered lunch, and now I cannot give it to you. You have to leave the restaurant right now. Like, we couldn't even serve people.
This ownership group, City Street Investors, they own a lot of
places we like, I have to say. I was very bummed to find out.
I know. I felt conflicted about this because they're like a major investor in a lot of popular places, like the Schoolyard, where we hosted our really fun last event.
Yeah.
Lowry Beer Garden, Union Station, like a lot of these concepts. So it was weird and like disconcerting that we couldn't chat with them too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It felt really opaque.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And I want to just say too, to the community and the neighborhood around that, people were dying for a space, like for that space to do something just like that for a long time.
It
years and years.
True.
There isn't anything else right on the park like that. A place to get a drink, a place to get a little snack. Like, I think it was such a boon for the neighborhood. Like, oh, cool, popping. We finally got this thing in this beautiful part of town, and now it's gone. So we don't know what's happening next, right? I mean, as far as we know, the restaurant's closed.
All I know is it's permanently closed. Okay. According to UFCW, they could confirm that for me, that the restaurant is permanently closed. So we don't really know what's next, but we're going to keep an eye on it because now we're invested.
Absolutely. If you're somebody that maybe worked there, or you know somebody there, or you just have any thoughts or anything, this just feels like such a talker to me. It was one of those oh my gosh, what happened? Also, what a great place. What a bummer. Also, what a bummer for these employees to lose their jobs. But give us a call, 720-500-5418. Let us know what you think.
This episode is brought to you by Denver Film, because movie lovers across the city are getting hyped. It's almost time for Denver's biggest celebration of cinema, and you don't want to miss it. I'm talking red carpets, celebs, Hollywood moguls, exclusive parties and VIP events, and you can be a part of it. Honestly, I've always had a great time at Denver Film Fest. Not only do they bring out so many good movies that you can just show up to basically a random theater on a Tuesday night on a whim and see something interesting, but you also have a chance to dress up nice, go out to a packed screening of one of the year's best, because they always bring the best. The Film Fest returns for its 48th year, running from October 31st to November 9th. They're featuring over 200 of the world's best new films, as well as all kinds of other great events. Choose your adventure and get tickets at denverfilm.org. That's denverfilm.org.
Hi, I'm Michael Ziviak, Chief Revenue Officer of CityCast. Why do most of us want to learn a new language? It's because we want to speak it out in the real world with real people. Babbel gets you there fast. My daughter's a senior in high school, and after she graduates, we're taking a father-daughter trip to Spain. I know, she's spoiled, but that's on me. I'll be honest, my Spanish right now is pretty much tops out at ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? But when we get there, I want to actually talk to people, order food, and really connect with the locals, not just stumble through the basics. That's why I'm starting with Babbel. Learning a language with Babbel is all about small steps, big wins, and progress you can actually track and feel. And with how busy things get here at CityCast, I love that Babbel's bite-sized, 10-minute lessons fit perfectly into my day, whether it's between meetings or while I'm having coffee in the morning. I'm really excited to start picking up real-world Spanish before our trip so we can experience Spain in a more meaningful way. Right now, Babbel has a special deal for our listeners. Get up to 55% off your subscription at babbel.com/citycast. That's BABBEL.com/citycast for up to 55% off. Rules and restrictions may apply. Gracias and adios.
Let's move on to a slightly bigger topic beyond Colorado.
Yeah, we've got national, baby. But okay, so as we may know, earlier this month, we entered a government shutdown.
Yes.
And to simplify the situation, it's basically because Republicans and Democrats couldn't agree on passing a bill for government funding into October and beyond. And so a lot of the rhetoric I've been seeing about this, like especially like literally from the White House, which is crazy, is like, the Democrats are to blame for this. I've been seeing a lot of Twitter videos from the official White House about like blaming the Democrats for this. But yeah, I'm just curious if you can kind of like contextualize this for us a little bit. Like, how are we going to feel this as real people living in the world? Like, where are we going to feel this?
Well, we'll talk about it in a minute, but it is already happening at the airport because TSA employees and air traffic controllers are currently working without pay because of the shutdown.
That is not the people I want to be working without pay. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I don't
air
want
traffic control. No, I don't want for the goodness of your heart.
Right. I don't want anyone to be working without pay, but this is like, it's a very stressful situation. Again, this is a safety issue, obviously, for folks traveling, but it also came with, on Friday, Trump announced these layoffs, he said, related to the shutdown. So federal law enforcement has been having trouble getting paychecks, which is interesting. Let's see. CNN reported federal agencies impacted everything from the IRS to special education programs and mental health programs to cybersecurity. These were fields that were impacted by the shutdown because he announced massive layoffs. So again, CNN says that Trump doubled down late Friday afternoon, saying he plans to fire, quote, a lot of federal workers in retaliation for the government shutdown, vowing to target those deemed to be aligned with the Democratic Party. He did not elaborate on what he meant, which is wild to me because the TSA serves all people and it's not a partisan position. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of TSA, Kristi Noem, the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, made a video for airports to play.
It is TSA's top priority to make sure that you have the most pleasant and efficient airport experience as possible while we keep you safe. However, Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government, and because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay. We will continue to do all that we can to avoid delays that will impact your travel. And our hope is that Democrats will soon recognize the importance of opening the government.
So, Bree, what do you think the goal is of this video?
I mean, to blame the Democrats for the shutdown, which is interesting because Republicans control all three branches of government currently. So I don't know. The math ain't math in there for me. But it is ostensibly what the Department of Homeland Security and by proxy, the Trump administration is saying is that it's the Democrats' fault that TSA agents and air traffic controllers are not getting paid. And this video was meant to be played, or at least the administration wanted it to be played at TSA checkpoints.
How are cities reacting? Is everybody playing the video?
No.
Okay. So who isn't? I'm curious.
Quite a few airports across the country, including Denver, Phoenix, Seattle, Spokane, Boise, Portland. I mean, this is not just us. Also, including the Colorado Springs Airport here in Denver, or here in Colorado. But the interesting thing is DIA's reasoning and Colorado Springs' reasoning were different. DIA said, we don't have the capacity to play audio at TSA checkpoints, so there's no point in us playing this video because no one can hear it. That was their reasoning. But the Colorado Springs Airport, while nobody at the airport could speak directly to this, a former representative, Ed Perlmutter, they interviewed him on 9 News about that, and he was like, this violates the Hatch Act, which is something that the Colorado Springs Airport takes into account when they're looking at things like advertising. The airport couldn't comment on it directly because it would violate the Hatch Act. Too long didn't read. The Hatch Act became law in 1939 over concerns that federal employees were being coerced and threatened if they didn't support a certain candidate. So it's basically to keep partisan politics out of federal positions. So that was apparently 9 News reports that's why Colorado Springs is not playing it. I don't know if every airport is saying why, but I think it's one of these issues where like they don't want to go along with what the Trump administration is asking them to do, but they just don't want to get in the crosshairs of that either. I think of it a lot with the immigration conversation.
The DIA reasoning here is really funny to me.
It's great.
They don't have the capacity to play audio.
Yes.
Which when last time I was in the DIA airport, it's all audio. I am so overwhelmed in that airport of like the a million messages just like blaring at all times. I'm like, oh, you don't have the technology. Also, subtitles on a video.
I thought that too. I was like, closed captioning serves a lot of folks, not everyone, obviously, but it can serve others.
It's interesting. I will say when I was like a few months back, I was at the South Carolina airport and there was 2 framed photos. They were like 11 by 9, like a piece of the pictures were literally computer paper printed out. A picture of Kristi Noem and a picture of JD Vance. But like, I swear it was one of those photos of him where his head is slightly blown up, like on Twitter. And they were just like framed off center in the middle of the like TSA section in the security checkpoint. And I don't know why. Just them two. No President Trump. Just JD Vance and Kristi Noem. So this I could see, in more conservative states, this being hot.
Yeah, like I said, DIA did not say this was because it was a partisan issue. But this is also not the only department that's been impacted by the shutdown, and that is blaming the quote radical left. So the Department of Housing and Urban Development said on September 30th, the day before the shutdown deadline, that the radical left was the reason for any problems or by the lack of federal services. And you may have seen similarly toned messages on at least 7 other agency websites, including the DOJ, the USDA, and the Department of Health and Human Services. So this is really an interesting moment, I think, for America, where we are looking at something which is just unprecedented. I mean, it's got that, for my Daria fans out there, it's got that sick, sad world feeling, the South Parkian nature of and I think also in my mind, I'm melding together that video, the TSA video, with Tina Fey's impression of Kristi Noem on Saturday Night Live this weekend as well, which I can't say I'm like a huge Saturday Night Live person as of late, but she did a pretty fun job of taking on this personality. But yeah, it's just, I don't know if it's an indication of things to come, but it is very strange to hear an official government statement with that much of a partisan bent when it comes to something that's so essential like TSA workers,
I'm curious if DIA will take a stronger position on that and kind of, not be as, it feels a little cop-out, feels like a little cop-out right now. So I'm curious if they'll take a stronger stance or just continue to not be involved.
I think it will really be telling in the next few weeks if the government continues to be shut down. I mean, honestly, I think we're going to see a lot of different perspectives and maybe voices showing up if this continues, because I mean, we're 2 weeks into this. That's really not great that our government is not functioning, and also that folks are having to work without pay. I mean, your mortgage and your rent don't stop just because you don't get paid, like your bills don't stop. I just paid my kid's childcare bill. That doesn't change because I might be a federal employee who's not getting paid. My heart is that's really where my heart is right now, is with the folks that are working unpaid to make sure that we remain safe in our airports. So we'll be following this story.
We'd love to hear from you if you are one of these people. If you work for the TSA, work at the airport, or if you're just another government employee that's dealing with this right now.
And you can be anonymous. You can reach out to us. You can text us. You can leave us a voicemail. We just would love to hear that direct perspective of what you're experiencing right now. Again, 720-500-5418. The WTF is going on at the airport hotline is open. All right. Speaking of our favorite listeners, our audience, you all are so awesome about connecting with us as much as we want to connect with you. I just want to say, too, just really quick, if you are a CityCast Denver neighbor, if you're a member and you signed up, you may be one of the few people that are going to come hang out with us on Thursday at our secret ballot event, which has sold out. We are totally full. So we'll see you guys there.
Excited to see you.
Yeah, but let's hear from some of our listeners. What did we hear this week, Olivia?
I've pulled some texts as a girl who's avoiding phone calls. No, I'm kidding.
I've
just found some good texts. But all right, I'll read you this first one.
Okay.
Hello, my friends and I are avid Love is Blind watchers, and we were dead when we saw that the guy who just totaled one of our cars in a fender bender was the villain Joe. Shout out to his Lemonade car insurance for hooking up my girl with a new RAV4.
This is what I am living for, because you know what? If you know anything about Denver, is even with the metro area, we're not like the biggest place. So it was inevitable that someone listening knew one of these people. And what an amazing story.
Oh my God. Imagine you're in a fender bender. You're like, oh my God. And then Edmund gets out of the car. You're like, girl, were you picking your nose? Like, why did you crash into me?
Love that you all are watching it. We're watching it too.
Shout out new
Keep
RAV4.
sending the tea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got another one here. One of our members, our CityCast Denver neighbors, Jess. She says, love your show. Just listen to the Casa Bonita bit. Been going for over 25 years. Hands down, roaming characters are equally important to the atmosphere. I was there last week, and although the installation was cool to see, it felt off not seeing characters. I hope they get this worked out, as it's such a bummer to know they cut 1,000 hours for characters making $23 an hour with no tips. No way could it be about money if that's only $23,000. Get them back to work and take care of them. I thought that was a really nice note.
Yeah. Thanks for sending that, Jess.
This reminds me, I had mentioned on the Friday show that Cal Duran, one of the artists that created work within the Casa Bonita, these static installations, had been studying under like folk artists here. And there's actually this really beautiful story in Denverite this week that I will share in our show notes.
Cool.
And it's about Rita Flores de Wallace, who Cal studied under. She's known as the first lady of Denver's Mexican folk art scene. She passed away, unfortunately, recently. But there's a great story about Cal's connection to her and the art that she created and how he learned from her what you can see in Casa Bonita right now. So it's just a really cool story to see the legacy of that art here in Denver.
I'll say I got the chance to go
to
you Casa
did.
Bonita. My family was in town and we got to go check it out. The art was really cool. I really did enjoy it.
So excited.
It's so conflicting because, people losing their hours to work.
I want both.
I want both. And it's disappointing that, people can't live and unexpectedly got the rug pulled out from under them.
Yeah.
But I will say, I really enjoyed the art. And as an adult going, I think that the actors sometimes are a little too much for me when I'm just trying to eat dinner. So I
can see all sides.
I can see all sides totally because, like, you know, and I will say I saw a lot of kids dressed up in costumes because that's one of the new things. And the vibe was good, but like it's hard to enjoy it when you know that like people's livelihoods are threatened by this.
Yeah.
So it was really a conflicting experience. So
yeah, I don't like artists having to be essentially pitted against other artists.
yeah, it's kind of an icky feeling. So
Yeah.
we'll see, you know, what continues to happen there.
Absolutely.
But
All
right.
You want to read one more text we've got?
yeah, we got one more text. It's actually a recommendation. So we'll just leave you with this.
Yes.
A fun one. Hey, CityCast, Britt from Park Hill here. In light of your coffee episode, I wanted to shout out Lilac Coffee on Colfax and Eudora. I know lots of people go to Starbucks rather than our awesome local spots when they need a drive-thru option, and Lilac is a great local drive-thru option. The menu is super unique with ube lattes, honeycomb espresso, etc., and they make all their syrups in-house. It's super affordable, the owners are lovely, and now's the time to support our Colfax small businesses. Plenty of good cozy shops in Denver to sit in, but Lilac is a good reminder that drive-thru doesn't have to be corporate or bad coffee. Thanks for a fun episode.
Oh my gosh. Britt, you are speaking to my mobile ordering heart with this. I
this is
love
a great
this.
rack.
Oh, what a great! I love it too because it's like, yes, we've got cozy coffee shops, but let's be realistic. Sometimes you're in a
people
hurry.
need the drive-thru.
Hit the drive-through at Lilac. I love it. And you know us, Colfax lovers. We want to support Colfax businesses. So go check out Lilac. Let us know what you think. Love it.
Yeah, thanks for the rec.
Thanks for the rec, Britt. Again, 720-500-5418. We are taking questions, comments, thoughts on any episode in the last almost 4.5 years that we've been doing the show. So always hit us up. Olivia, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks, Brie.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed the show, why not take a minute to tell Kristi Noem about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See you later.
TSA is already prone to yell at you, so now they're probably...
I just wish they could get it together because it depends on the airport. Some people want to know that I have a fake hip. Other places don't care. Sometimes I get pulled off to the side because
Some
of it.
people want you to get your laptop out of your bag in 0.3 seconds, or they're going to shove you into the x-ray machine themselves.
Some airports want to inspect my 4-year-old for being a drug mule, and he's not.
I mean, sus. He's a small person.
He is.